difference between an ambassador and a Pathways guide, or is there?
Between what?
A ambassador, Pathways ambassador versus a Pathways guide. What's the
Good
distinction?
question, and I'm glad you asked because I should have said that. I am the cheerleader for the program. I'm supposed to rev up the excitement and make you want to have Pathways. All the hard stuff is Linda's job. She's the one who will train people in how to use these systems, how to use Basecamp. She'll conduct a lot of outside sessions for your Basecamp manager so that you actually have the nuts and bolts of what's going on. I don't have any access to that. I'll get mine in 63 hours like everybody else in this room, but she has access to some of that now, so she can really help you get into the nitty-gritty of it. But I'm just here to rev up the excitement.
So,
Does that
but,
answer the question?
so you're the ambassador and she's the guide.
I'm the ambassador, she is the
'cause you
guide.
mentioned-
Oh, okay.
I'll still be with you for the next 3 months at least also. I will be sending my little monthly words of encouragement to your Basecamp manager people. And those I'm sure will change on July the 1st, but every month I send little tips and tidbits. I send little links to parts of the websites where you can look and get more information about it. That will continue for the next 3 months, perhaps longer, but at least for 3 months, so that you will have both of us supporting you as well as some other people.
Our club has a lot of people that have been members for a very long time, and since getting my DTM, what I've been doing is just slowly working on a competent communicator and slowly working on a competent leader so that I could give them to the club, but I didn't do it, it took years, but finally I would complete a competent communicator and then the club would get credit for it. So would I just do the presentation mastery and then I could be earning something, but I wouldn't have to go through the whole program? Would that be
Well, each path is a complete self-contained program. Presentation mastery would eliminate a lot of the projects having to do with leadership, but it would still give you the opportunity to do presentations if that's what your main desire is. If you want any of the leadership components, you might choose a different path. To get a DTM under Pathways, you need to complete 2 paths. So right now, your only choice if you don't want leadership is presentation mastery. You probably, eventually, to get a second DTM, would need to choose something else. No, okay, well, and you can just do presentation mastery, and you can do as many paths as you want, or parts of as many paths as you want to as well. If you have enough $20 pops, that you could do the basic level 1, level 2 of every project if you want, every path if you wanted to.
So would presentation mastery be like a CC with 10 speeches?
All of the paths have 14 projects to them. Even presentation mastery has 14 projects to it. It is mostly, in presentation mastery, it is mostly speeches, but there are still projects that you have to do. For example, the evaluation and feedback, you have to do a speech evaluator role. You have to do a Toastmasters role. You have to do a table topics role. So you still have to do some of those things, but the main focus is on speaking. At the end of each path, there's also a project that you have to complete, a culmination project for that path. The one in presentation mastery is a long speech. In some of the other paths, it's putting together a meeting. It may be putting together an event, something like that, but presentation mastery is a long speech. So that sounds like it might be a good fit for you with what you say you want to do.
I want to just add one more thing, that the paths are free. Your first 2 paths are free. If you're a member of 2 clubs, you get 2 paths. Member of 5 clubs, you get 2 paths. So I just wanted to make that particular point to you. And everything that you've already accumulated, all your designations that you currently have, you do not lose those. You still keep those particular designations, CL, DTM, etc.
Can we still use those menus, like a CC menu, storytelling menu, and
Just for
many
the
other,
traditional.
what?
Just for the traditional program. Those manuals, you have 2 years till 2020, June 30th of 2020 is when the traditional program will end. So you still have that leadway to use those manuals.
Do we have a new menus for the new pass, 10 pass?
They're accessible online for people that want to take full advantage of the materials that are available. If you want to get it printed, you can order the printed materials from Toastmasters International. It will be a slimmed down version of what's available because there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of checklists and things that in the printed version you won't get, and you pay an extra $25. So the best option, in my opinion, and this is just Joyce's opinion, get a path online and buy some ink and buy some paper and whatever you want to have in your hands, print it at home. Instead of waiting for you'll get 4 different shipments if you order the printed materials from Toastmasters International. You'll get level 1. When you finish that, you'll get level 2. So it will be a much longer time frame to get access to the information too. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yolanda?
Yes, Linda mentioned that the club president, vice president of education, and secretary have access to pathways, and that the vice president of education would have to approve completed projects. Is that limited to just the vice president of education, or is it all the club officers as in the past?
They have access to base camp, so it's those 3, the president, the vice president of education, and the secretary will have access to base camp. Therefore, they can look at what you're doing, approve the certain projects. You know, if you've completed something, there's a way to submit it, and they give a little check off so it'll show electronically. I also wanted to mention that you may choose a path, and you start dibbling and dabbling and think, I don't like this. You have 30 days to change your path with no charge. If you wait longer, if you procrastinate and wait longer than 30 days, you have to pay for another path.
To go back to your question for a minute, now only those 3 officers will have the access to sign you off as having completed a project. I think that's what you were
Yes,
asking.
that's what I was asking.
Oh, okay.
And Tom, you had a question?
Okay, I'll tell you something. I mean, I sound so old-fashioned because I know the emphasis is online. But what I would like to see, the requirements for each of the 10 paths, maybe on paper. I would like to see it on paper. I know.
Would you like it on your paper, or would you like to pay somebody to print it for you? That's the choice that you have to make. That is available
You know,
online right
I'm so
now.
desperate for it. I would like to someone else to. My computer needs. My printer needs more ink. So
That's probably true. Now,
how many pages would it be where you tell me that? To see the requirements, just to see the what the requirements for each level of each path
By the
is.
500
Maybe.
pack of paper.
perhaps 50 pages or so. I sent a link earlier this week to your base camp manager people, including you. If you go there and poke around, you can see the required projects and the elected projects for each one. I think it's probably about 50 pages, but you can print the whole thing if you're so inclined.
In color too.
In color. You
So that I
probably
really
right.
need to have both inks on there.
Perfect.
Yes, take me back, I missed something, but when we mentioned cost, my ears always plop up. So, tell me about the cost. Did I understand you get 2 pathways, 2 tracks?
No.
Explain that
That
to me,
was
please.
misleading. Everybody, no matter when they have joined Toastmasters, gets 1 path for free. Beyond that, additional paths are $20. One exception, if you are a member of more than one club, you get 2 free paths.
That wasn't what you said.
If you're a member of 10 clubs, you get 2 free paths. That's the maximum free that anybody can get. But a member of a single club gets 1 free path. Additional paths are $20 in the electronic format. There's a $25 surcharge for getting Toastmasters to print the material for you for each path. I think John was next.
I'll let Sho ask hers.
Okay.
She's new. She's new.
I noticed on this page, 10 paths, some of the paths look exactly the same. Like the first one, the dynamic leadership and motivational strategies, and strategic relationships are the same. Effective coaching and leadership development look the same. So what are the differences?
The differences are subtle when you get into the specific requirements for the path. There is a little bit of differentiation between them. I have a document here that if you want to look at it after the meeting, it might explain some of that a little bit better. This was 10 pages, and I didn't print it off for everybody, but I do have one copy you can look at and see specifically what the electives are for that project, what the level 2 projects, the required projects for each of the levels are on this document, and that may clarify it a little bit better for you. But basically, it's the core competencies that you concentrate on with some subtle differences in the projects. Rod?
What's the average length of time that it takes to get through a path?
The average length that they say it could take is 18 months, but that's based on everybody throughout the world. You know, you could drown in a stream that averaged 6 inches deep. If you're a fast worker, you may finish it in a year. If you're a slow worker, a procrastinator, it might take you 5 years. It's really dependent on how many opportunities you take in your club to speak, how many opportunities you go outside your club to speak, and how interested you are in completing the path. There have been people, it only started last August, I believe, was when the first
Beta testing.
the first region or the first area cut over to it, and there have been some people that have completed paths now. So it can be done in less than a year, but they say the average is probably 18 months. Doc?
Number of paths to DTM.
To get your Distinguished Toastmaster Award, for anybody who's interested in that, you must complete 2 paths plus a DTM project. And there are some more details on that available if anybody is interested in seeing that information. Linda will make that available to you.
Our time is just about gone. Should we stop this and maybe Ron, next week we could allow time and have Ron answer questions? Because, you know, our meeting's already lasted an hour and 55 minutes.
Okay, that's a good idea, and you can also submit through your Vice President Education any questions that you want. You can send them to Linda and to me, and we will get the answers for you. We don't want every individual member sending questions to us because that will make it unmanageable, but if you funnel them to your Vice President Education, they will send them to Linda and I, and we will get answers for you as well.
Okay, we're gonna close, so write down your questions so you don't forget. And Ron, you know about this, right? We can ask you the questions.
Expert.
Well, we will have a period of time in our next meeting for Ron to answer all these questions. So just save them, because I hate to have the meeting go over. So, thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll be over